online and 103.2 FM. This is Insanity Radio.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday afternoon. You're listening to The Waqattack Show. And today, this is International Week, so we're going to be listening to some nice music from all around the world. We're talking India, Spain, Colombia, Pakistan, and some, other South American country. I think it's Ecuador, yeah. And today we're going to be talking about our news stories of the day. Funny and weird news stories. Then we're going to be talking to our friend Tony down in Australia with a new episode of Good Call and Bad Call. And we're going to end it off with a new segment called Pierre's Travelogue, which is our French homie from Bordeaux. And we're going to talk to him about his travels and what he's been up to. So, first news story. A man spent 4 hours trapped in a chimney after locking himself out. Now this comes at us live from Arizona, where a man learned a very valuable lesson on what not to do when you get locked outside your home. Now this guy was so desperate that he climbed up on top of his house and went down the chimney. And the 26-year-old became stuck in his chimney for up to 4 hours on Saturday. After trying to shimmy down the tube into his Tucson home, which is what the fire officials have said. A neighbor heard him yelling for help and called the fire department. By the time help arrived, the department said he had managed to get far enough down to touch the floor, but the exit was too narrow for him to escape, so he was not able to get out of there safely. Firefighters consequently pulled him back through the chimney, and after lots of tugging and pulling, he was able to escape, and the final photos appear to show the guy embracing one of his heroes. Next is a very weird news story coming at us from Iraq. Now, the Iraqi Transport Minister, Mr. Kazem Finyan, held a press conference recently in Deir Khar district to announce the construction of a brand new airport. But he included some rather startling statement. Now, he said that the ET, aka extraterrestrials, built the Earth's first airport. Now, this guy is quoting the Sumerians, which used to live back in the day in present-day Iraq, and he said, when the Sumerians settled here, they knew full well the atmosphere that was suitable for flying to outer space. It was from here on that Sumerian spaceships took off towards other planets. Now, keeping in mind, this guy is a Class A transport minister who is in charge of constructing things from airports to bus stations to train stations. So this guy's in charge of basically Iraq's infrastructure. And he continued to say that the Sumerians were first to discover the 12th planet, which was acknowledged by NASA and called Nibiru. And it says it completes orbit around the sun every 3,600 years. Not only is this guy a transport minister, but he is a very fond astronomer. Now, someone in the Huffington Post said, left a comment on the article saying, if this Class A numpty really believes this nonsense, why is he allowing an airport to be built there? Why not excavate the site and actually look for proof? Which is a great idea. We should always go for more excavations. The more, the better. And now, this is my favorite news story. This happened literally a few days ago. Now, this guy could potentially be the hero of the week or even hero of the month, because what he did was an act of heroism beyond compare. Now this guy, he was driving around minding his own business, and he saw a house on fire. Now naturally what you do when you see a house on fire, you call 911, but here's the fun part. There was a dog, well actually not a fun part, but there was a dog inside the house. And so the man said, there's a house on fire, there's a dog inside there, I'm going to do my duty and I'm going to save that dog. So what the guy did, he was in his car, he crashed through the white picket fence, smashed the window, took the dog out, and ran away to safety. Now imagine that, but it turns out that guy was highly tripping on LSD, so everything that just happened did not happen. It was all going on in his head. Now this guy, Michael Orchard, he fled the burning property, what he thought was burning, near Albany, and he was bewildered and tenderly cradled in his arm while resting in the front lawn. Now, the state troopers said that this guy Orchard, who's a 43-year-old, was tripping on a potent mixture of LSD and cough syrup, and that there was absolutely no blaze. The entire house fire scenario was just a result of his hallucinations. And they went on to say he believed that the residence was on fire and he was rescuing a dog, as we just said. Now, he began tripping earlier that day after taking cough medicine, and which was laced with a very high amount of LSD. And so what he did was he plowed his BMW sedan. So not only is the fence destroyed, but his BMW sedan is going to need some help from his insurance company. Now, police arrested this guy because he was only a hero in his own mind. He wasn't actually doing anything heroic. And he charged them with third-degree criminal mischief and second-degree burglary. And he said he won't be facing drug charges, however, as he didn't drive on the road and was not found because he was not found carrying any illegal substances. Now, Trooper described Orchard as a very cooperative man because of the hero that he is, and he only has he's been assigned to a jail for a limited amount of time with a $15,000 of a fine. And the good news is the dog was uninjured in the incident. So that was our news stories of the day. Now we're going to listen to some more feel-good music. This is from India. This is called Ooh La La from the movie Dirty Picture. Here we go.
This is Insanity Radio, 103.2 FM.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Waqattack Show. And I apologize for my coughing earlier. It's just because I have a slight cold. But anyhow, it's time for our segment called Good Call, Bad Call with our friend Tony from Australia. Now today we're going to be talking about the moon and should we return to the moon, sending probes and actually sending humans there because China is sending probes to the far side of the moon in 2018 to receive samples. Now this is the first time they're receiving samples since 1972, which was when Apollo 17 last went to the moon. Now Tony, how are you doing? Good eye, mate. I'm doing absolutely fabulous. It is a fine day out here in the Daintree rainforest in Australia. That's great to hear, Tony. So, what are your thoughts on sending people back to the moon, you know? Do you think it's a good idea that we're sending probes back to the moon, or do you think it's a waste of time that we should focus on things over here? Mate, I never really thought of the moon as something more than just a thing you just look at in the night sky and just admire while you're skinning crocodiles in the rainforest. But now that you've got my attention, I want to speak to you about a larger topic that people don't really talk about. Is that, did we really go to the moon, mate? Yeah, of course we went to the moon. The Apollo 11 carried Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and co. to the moon back in 1969. But what proof have you got, mate? The proof, they brought lunar rocks back to Earth, which were then analyzed, and then now we know more about how the moon was formed. Mate, let me tell you that they did not go to the moon. It's just a ruse to screw with the Russians. Well, what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say is that there's so much evidence that we didn't go to the moon. Now, I did my research on this before we started talking. Like last time, we were talking about Snowden, and I didn't know much about Snowden, but I actually went on YouTube and did full-on research on this moon landing. It turns out things are more fishy than we previously thought. I'm talking, why do we not see any of the stars, mate? Why was the flag not waving? Why is all this happening? I mean, dude, if you went on YouTube to research the moon landing, you're going to find stuff like that. You're going to find loads of weird stuff about the moon landing. But if you went on the Mythbusters channel, you'd see that they actually disproved all the things. They said the flag waved just because of the wind created by the astronauts while they were moving, and the reason why there were no stars was because the light from the light was reflecting back from the moon because the surface was oh so bright. And of course, cameras weren't that great back in the day. Mate, that is exactly what they want you to think. Okay, we're not getting into this whole conspiracy thing again, but so what are your thoughts on China sending a probe to the far side of the moon to collect samples? I mean, why do we need moon samples? I mean, it's completely worthless. We got so much stuff in Earth. Like I went cave hunting back in January, and I got a ton of gold. At least I thought it was gold, because I sold in the black market for about $10,000 US. And I'm Australian, so it's Australian dollars for us, so I got a big buck for it. Yeah, no, it's not the value. It's basically understanding how the moon was formed and basically understanding our solar system in a much better detail than we had previously known. We already got satellites up there. If you said we went to the moon, we should have like done enough research on it. I mean, we went there like 2, 3 times. I think that should be enough for one to get like a decent essay on it. You know what I'm saying? No, the thing is that we didn't get enough samples to understand. Like for example, to this date, humans have never set foot on the dark side of the moon. Now, this is the side of the moon you never see from Earth. And so this time, they're actually sending the probe over there to an uncharted territory. Now, don't you think that's cool? I mean, like, there's tons of uncharted territory right here on Earth. I mean, half of Papua New Guinea is unexplored. And I think of myself as quite the explorer. Like, I got bored of the whole Melbourne center city life, so I decided to go on a little cruise. It wasn't really a cruise. I built myself a little dinghy, and then I went to Papua New Guinea, which was right near Australia, and I wanted to explore the place until I got chased by a bunch of savages. We're talking people with poisonous spears. They were just chucking them at me, and I'm like, mate, I come here in peace. I brought you guys a kangaroo for like your feasting. I come in peace, but they didn't understand a word of English, and they were just chucking stuff at me. So I just had to run back and swim back all the way back to Australia, and it was not a pretty sight. So I'm saying, until we explore this Earth, why are we even going to the moon? I mean, we're not going anywhere anytime soon, are we? I mean, there's the guy who owns Tesla. I think he's planning on sending a manned mission to Mars in 2020. And they think that if we are able to get to the moon first, we'll be able to better understand how space works and basically build spacesuits to actually survive in those harsh climates. We're talking intense amounts of radiation. We're talking the unexpected. We're talking possible asteroid collisions. There are a lot of stuff that could go on in the Earth, that could go on in space. Now, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why are we going somewhere when we know we're risking lives? I mean, I swear to God, like, how many rockets do you have to get blown up for this Tesla dude to understand that going to space is a horrible idea? I mean, his rockets are going off like every 2 days, and then now he's saying we're gonna go to Mars. I mean, that is just, it doesn't make sense in my head. I mean, there's nothing, absolutely nothing on the moon. It's just like, it's just cheese in the moon. I think that's exactly what's just on the moon. Why would we go to the moon for cheese? No, the moon does not have cheese on it. It just, okay, we're not even gonna go into that. But there are a bunch of scientists saying that there are some useful resources. We're talking some rare earth metals that are not available here that we could possibly harvest from the moon. And there's this thing called helium-3, which can be used to power uranium-generated power reactors and stuff like that. Now, isn't that a good reason to go to the moon? Because we're wasting stuff over here. We're cutting trees down left, right, side. Do you think it's a good idea to actually go to the moon for these resources? Mate, then again, you're still using uranium. Now, I don't think I personally don't like uranium. Anything that kills you, I don't like. I mean, I love crocodiles. I got a prep one back at home. He tries to kill me all the time, but I don't care because we've been buddies for 10 years. I mean, if he wanted to kill me, he would kill me by now. But uranium, now that's some dangerous stuff. Now, we're always going on about how Iran's got all their uranium there and how we should be worried about how they're going to, like, launch nukes at us. And then we're worried about Kim Jong-un playing with one of his, like, drone toys, accidentally destroying the entire Earth. Now, why are we trusting the moon with uranium if we can't even trust our own fellow human beings with uranium? Dude, there's no one on the moon to trust with uranium. Like, what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that what if one of the astronauts tends to be a Russian spy, gets the uranium, and then, like, tries to destroy the entire Earth? I mean, this is some serious consequences. Not only are we spending money, wasting money trying to go to the moon, but we're actually destroying the entire Earth in the process. Now, there's no uranium on the moon. There's just things that can help us make uranium because, I mean, I'm not sure that you know, but there have been rainforests that have been cleared down. Like acres and acres of rainforest just being cleared down in Brazil. Even in your Australian Daintree rainforest, Mate, a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to survive. I mean, like, you try living in the rainforest. It ain't a pretty exotic lifestyle as some people think. I mean, sure, you get the occasional parrots that you can hear chirping here and there, but you know, at the end of the day, they're just meat that you wanna eat. Okay, so now not only do you agree with deforestation, but you think the moon is made of cheese and we never went to the moon in the first place. This is just going absolutely amazing. Now, you said you were talking about money and expenses. Now, why do you think it's not worth exploring the greater universe? Because isn't that the next step to humanity? We already know a lot about the Earth. We already know how it works, its insides and its outsides. Now, is the next step to actually going out and actually exploring the universe and understanding like new stuff? Like, have you seen the movie Martian? They're able to understand so much about Mars, and the technology that they use is far more advanced than we're using. I mean, that's the thing, exploration again. I don't see the point in going to space. I mean, I think, fix things down here on Earth, and then we can actually go there. But you just said that we're cutting trees down, and that we're basically killing the Earth by what you're doing, like, from your livelihood. Now, don't you think that if we go to the moon, we're not going to hurt anyone by going anywhere? Mate, I'm sure that the parrots lived a very fine lifestyle. I mean, I gave them a little, like, bird feeding thing, you know, I put some water out there. I'm sure they don't really need the trees. Cages are way better, don't you think, in my opinion?
To close the page,
no, that's the exactly the kind of mentality, which is why the Earth is in flames right now.
To close the page.
So what's your final word? Do you think it's a good call or a bad call to go to the moon? Personally, mate, I think it's a bad call. Not only are we wasting money on things that, I mean, there's so much stuff we could be doing. We could be making virtual reality stuff. We're talking intense virtual reality stuff. Or we could be mining for stuff down right here. What's the point of going to Mars or moon when we're wasting life and wasting money? That's my take on it. I think it's a bad call. Okay, so this is Tony. He said that it's a bad call going all the way to the moon. This has been 2 bad calls in the span of 2 weeks. He didn't agree with Edward Snowden getting pardoned, and he didn't agree with going on the moon. Now, me personally, I think it's a good idea going to the moon. I think there is much more than just exploring our own Earth. We got to go beyond. We got to go far and beyond. We got to reach for the stars. We got to reach for beyond the beyond. We want to understand the universe. Maybe even see alien life. Now that is a question that we're going to be asking Tony next week about aliens. I'm sure he agrees with it. Tony, any last words? Nah, man, I'm just going to go out fishing. I heard there's a bunch of piranhas that are migrating for breeding season, and I'm going to see how they'd get down. And I heard they make really good exports for the Japanese. Oh, speaking of Japanese, our next song is going to be by a very famous Japanese band called Bradio, and the song is called Flyers. You're listening to the Waqattack Show. Let's play the record. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Waqattack Show. And the song that you just heard was Bubble Pop by Hyuna, a famous K-pop singer. And then it was Akon in his song Criminal, which was for the Bollywood movie Ra 1. And now we're going to head over for our new segment all the way to France, where our friend Pierre is going to be telling about his journey to Pakistan. So, Pierre, we'll head off to you. Bonjour, monsieur and mademoiselle. My name is Pierre, and I'm here to tell you about my adventures in Pakistan. Now, what interested me about this country was the multiple things I've heard about it. We're talking food, we're talking the culture, and we're talking the dance. So, firstly, I went in the summers, which is a horrible idea. Never go to a hot country in the summers, especially if you are a wise Frenchman, because it is painful to the core. So I went there in the summers, which was absolutely horrifying, because I was sweating like crazy. Like, you've never seen a French person sweat that much. I was sweating more than when I was getting ready for my annual baguette presentation, which happens every year in New Bordeaux, and where you have to make a new baguette every single day and present it, and the best baguette wins. But anyway, I went to Lahore, which is not French for the prostitute. It is a city in Pakistan. So I went there, and primarily I went to try the food. So I headed off to the place called Food Court, and dans the food court there was a variety of food I could try. There was a variety of curry, dal, and chapati, lots of different food. Now, let me tell you something that I have figured out about the food in Pakistan. If the amount of oil in the curry doesn't give you heart disease, the amount of sugar in the sweets will definitely give you at least a type 2 in the diabetes scale. So I went to the food court and I said, prepare me your finest curry. So the guy, he brought his lamb, he brought his ingredients. He started making it in front of me, an inferno of colors. It was absolutely fantastic. Then I went for in the bite. Oh, the food, magnifique. I've never tasted anything like this quite before. Fresh from the core. And I was enjoying it. I loved every taste of it. And then I thought, okay, it's time to fill me up with some dessert. Now, back in France, I'm used to having le gâteau, le croissant, la pain au chocolat. But over here, they had a variety of things absolutely dipped in oil. Everything here has oil. I mean, the country itself has no oil. But the amount of oil in the food, I am surprised they have not been invaded by the USA as of yet. I mean, they had these little chocolate dough balls, although they were not made of chocolate. They were sweet chocolate-looking balls that they dipped in lots of oil. And boy, it tasted absolutely magnifique, especially because it was warm and gooey. I love warm and gooey things. Now, I enjoyed my meal. I went back to my hotel, relaxing, chilling, watching the Netflix, watching, as all Frenchmen do, Baguette Weekly, reading my daily shows, and I suddenly felt an ick in my stomach, and I said, oh my god, what is this? I have never felt this sensation ever before in my life. And so I had to go to the men's room, and oh my god, the diarrhea that I had for the past week, I could not feel my anus for over 5 weeks. I am not lying. Every single meal I had absolutely intense amounts of diarrhea. So that was my food expense. That was my food experience. Amazing food, but oh boy, you got to be prepared. You have to have some special protection down there if you want to survive the food. Next, I was invited to a wedding by one of my friends called Khan, and I said, of course, I would love to be invited. I've never been to such a wedding, and so I went there dressed in the traditional clothing. Everyone was wearing their traditional clothing, and I was just getting involved with them. Now, I was expecting the food over there was exactly the same. I did not see one hamburger or le frite. But that is no problem. My anus got used to the amount of diarrhea that I was just immune to it at that point. I mean, this wasn't even any. But I went there to experience the culture and the music. So the first day was all the singing and the dancing, and there were a variety of songs coming on. But I recognized one of the songs that was played over and over again that got a lot of people hyped up. It was a Punjabi song because of course we are in Lahore, so they're gonna play Punjabi songs. It was the mundiya to bach ke rahi, bidi 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 budi mundiya to bach ke rahi. It went kind of like that, and so I was losing it. I was like dancing. I was like getting into the groove. I was learning all the dance moves, and that was a very fun night that I remember. And after the wedding, we went a bit sightseeing. We went to the zoo. Oh my god, the zoo! I had quite an experience in the zoo because basically I saw a camel. I have never seen a camel in my life. We do not have camels in France. We have the horses outside the chateau. So I said, of course, as a Frenchman wanting to broaden my horizons, of course I wanted to actually ride on one of the camels. So I did what everyone would do. I get on the camel. Next thing I know, I'm bumping up and down and up and down. It has to be one of the most painful experiences I've ever had in my life. Not only was my anus profusely hurting from the amount of curry and diarrhea that I have had, but now I am going up and down le camel, and it is deeply penetrating into my anus, and it is absolutely horrifying, the amount of pain that I'm going through right now. So that was my short little travelogue. Back to you, DJ Waqattack. Thank you, everyone. That was Pierre coming at us live from Bordeaux, France, with his very interesting story about his travel experiences. Now, we're keeping International Week live. We're going to be listening to some more Indian songs, and then we're going to head back to the West. Now, not the West as in the American West. We're talking Southwest. We're talking Colombia. We're going to play some Indian songs. The next song is called Chamak Chalo, again by Akon from the movie Rawan. Now, this is a club banger in India. Hope you enjoy Chamak Chalo. That was La Duena del Swing by Los Hermanos Rosario. You guys are listening to the Waqattack Show. We're coming towards the end of the show, where today I'm going to do a quick recap on what we talked about. We went all the way from a guy tripping on LSD, trying to save his imaginary dog from an imaginary house blaze, to cheese. The moon is made of cheese. And then we ended off with Pierre telling about how his anus was profusely hurting after his amazing diarrhea experience back in Lahore. Now, thank you all for listening to this week's show of the Waqattack Show. We're every Thursdays, 12 to 1. We're here to make you feel good by putting some nice feel-good music and, of course, trying to get you a little bit of laughter. And now it's time for the feel-good tip of the day. In order to have a nice day, you got to be relaxed. You got to be chill. You got to be in the zone. Now, what a better way to do that than actually meditate? Now, I'm recommending an app called Headspace, which, if you download, it's 10 minutes of intense meditation that can allow you to feel your inner chi and actually relax yourselves for 10 minutes during the day. And you will feel much better after that. And I'm not even getting paid for this, but that's Headspace. So hopefully you guys, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of the day, feeling good. And this is Chaudhry Waqas from Insanity Radio 103.2 in the Waqattack Show. And I am signing off. See you guys next Thursday, 12 till 1.
This is Insanity Radio, 103.2 FM.